Welcome back to the garden, and I wanted to share some of the realities that goes into maintaining things in the garden. One thing in particular is the greenhouse. In the past couple of years, the greenhouse has become a bit of the it item for the garden, and I don't think that expensive things should be bought just for the sake of having, if that makes sense, like a handbag or whatever. I think if you want a greenhouse, you're into growing, or you want that extra space in the garden, absolutely. But I have noticed some fellow YouTubers, larger accounts, have these absolutely stunning greenhouses. We've got the Hartley Botanics, we've got the Alitex. In my greenhouse, while it was still expensive to me, it was a fraction of what those larger greenhouses would be. I got my greenhouse back in 2021 and I absolutely love it. But I wanted to share, I suppose, the reality of maintaining it, because most of you guys who are watching, you are your own head gardener. And I think I remember saying this in a previous video back in autumn. I got quoted a crazy price to get someone to come and clean this. So I have perfected my own way of cleaning this to get it nice and clean and try and do it as quick as I can. Like most people, I will probably clean my greenhouse on my day off or in an evening when I've come back from doing work. So I want to clean it as quick as I can because it's not the most fun job. So here's what I've learned over the years. Why not use a power washer? So you'll notice that there's a film of grime on the greenhouse, and this happens in summertime because there are trees around it and they flower, and when they have finished flowering there does be this, it's like a grime, like pollen, and you'll see bits of flowers as well and things that have fallen. So I'll wait until that tree has finished doing what it's doing, and then I'll clean it. I find power washing, the water bounces off the glass, and that is toughened horticultural glass. It's not as strong as the glass in your windows. Like, it can take a football being bounced off it, but it would crack. When I used a power washer in the past, it has just been an absolute mess. I have gotten soaking, and it doesn't get as much of the grime off, and it just wastes a load of water. So my technique that has been working for me. So I am dampening the glass, tiny bit of water on it. Then I'm using good old washing up liquid. The little scrubbing brush that you'll see me using, I actually stole that off my brother. It's for cleaning cars, and you can attach your hose to it. But I forgot to steal the connector off his hose. So there's a special connector that goes onto so you can stick your hose to it. And I forgot to steal that too, because I was hoping that would, be handy. Sometimes I'll use like a normal sweeping brush. Give it a scrub. Then I'll rinse off some of the suds, and then I'll use my extendable squeegee, which I love. And halfway through this video, I broke it and I was devastated. But anyway, I use the squeegee to get all of that water off, because it will, if I don't get it all off, it can dry a bit streaky, not squeaky. And I also heard that using like tap water, there's obviously like lime scale and stuff in it. So people don't recommend using tap water on your windows. Apparently it can leave a film over time. I've heard that. That's pretty much my technique. Another technique I've used in the past is a bucket of hot water, and I pop in washing up liquid, bit of vinegar, and same technique of just scrubbing the glass of the grime and then using my squeegee. I did that back in autumn time because the ground was quite damp, and I found with the hose and stuff, I was just creating even more puddles. Anyone who's a regular viewer will know how wrecked my grass got last winter from walking on it. I had all these bald patches in my grass back in March, April. Thankfully, they've all healed. I re-sowed seed, excuse me, and they're looking good. When it comes to the frequency of how often I have to clean the greenhouse, it's not actually too bad. I would say twice a year. So I do this summer clean that you'll see now because of that pollen layer from the trees. And then, depending on the weather and my mood, I like to do one around about like December, January time. Depending on the storms that we've had, I find when there's storms and heavy rain, the windows, sure you know from your own house, the windows get that lovely stormy film of debris. So I might give it a clean. It depends when I'm looking out the window if I'm like, oh, that is looking awful. And my winter motivation. Another little tip as well, if you have a wooden structure in your garden, you'll notice that power washing will not remove the algae. I swear by a product called Algon, Algon. It's like a vinegary type solution. I bought it from that guy in Cavan, Pelargonium. Oh, what can I think? Pergola Nurseries. That's it, not Pelargonium. That is the name of the plant. Pergola Nurseries in Cavan. I'm sure you can pick it up online as well. You spray that onto whatever it is where you want to remove algae from. So the green film that you get on things. And then as it rains over the course of a couple of weeks, it just goes. So just a little tip for anyone who maybe has a similar wooden structure or shed and they want to remove it. You can also remove it with vinegar yourself, but I just find this solution is so handy. Hello. We have to pause for a minute because it started to rain. I do need to do the inside of the greenhouse. My box of ants have arrived. You've heard me correct. I need my tea for this. Hang on. My nephew wanted an ant farm for his birthday. Of course, Auntie Catherine was like, let me look into it. He's of the age where he's responsible. Well, when I say he's responsible enough, with adult supervision. I was like, ants, okay, I can handle ants. If I can handle bees, I can handle ants. So I went down the rabbit hole of learning about ants, and I got him an ant farm and it arrived. And the ants are in a tube and I need to get them in their home ASAP. I'm actually kind of excited. Hang on. Oh. This also cost me a fortune. Well, in terms of like the present budget. So this is what it looks like. It lights up. They didn't have cool ant farms in the toy shops. Because I was like, that makes sense. They shouldn't really be toys. They are living animals or insects. My nephew is a bit like me. Come out. My nephew is a bit like me in the sense that he likes bugs and stuff. Well, I wouldn't be mad on all the bugs. I'm gonna have to cut this. This is my tube of ants, live ants. They're tiny. I thought they were going to be huge. You can get in the box. We have a bag. We have jelly pots. Here, you can have the box. Look, that's what she wants. She won't stop until she gets it. Hang on. Okay, this is kind of cool. That's a cool little bubble thingy. There's two chambers, a top chamber and a bottom chamber. Instructions are quite easy as well. We have a foraging area, which is the clear top, and then the bottom, I don't know what that is. I think that's where they go to sleep. You can also use this as like a light, a night light, I think. They don't seem to be too high maintenance. They're fed once a week, according to this. Every 4 to 6 days, depending on their hunger. It's important to hydrate the nest every 7 to 10 days. I did get an extra water chamber thing. So yeah, like check the food every 5-6 days. It's kind of like the bees. You check on your bees once a week. At this time of year anyway, you're checking for swarming. So yeah, if I can handle bees, I can handle ants. Is there anything more satisfying than peeling? Oh yes. Here's another big bit here. ASMR peeling. Oh yes. Okay, so the moment of truth. I have this all set up. There was 2 holes at the side and I was like, they're going to get out. There's also this anti-escape oil. I was kind of hoping this would be sealed tight. It didn't cross my mind that they could escape. But here is the ants. So I don't know if you can see. And I'm going to be really gentle. So these are European red ant. And I did go down a rabbit hole on YouTube with ants. And there's all these like different types. And if it was something he would be interested in, then yeah, you can get all these different, you know, type of ants. My heart, that tissue paper just moved and I was like, is this going to be an ant? So I am going to, I think it says, just stick them in. Hydrate the nest. I've hydrated the nest. I gave them water as well, and they have a jelly food pot. Your empire is now ready. As exciting as this is, it's important to remain calm and swift. Gently place the tube inside the foraging area and open the cap. The ants will explore and make their way into the nest. Okay, so it's not like bees. You don't shake them in. Okay, so I'm going to... Yeah, they've got food and everything in here. And I also... This came with Harvester Ant Seed Blend. I know ants eat insects as well. They have jelly pots, but it's good that they eat seed too. And I have another little... I wonder, is that like a seed dispenser? Okay, the moment of truth. See what I mean? See, you have to lift the whole thing. It's kind of on magnets, so they could definitely escape. The tube, oh, one of them is coming out. Come out, my friend. The tube is a bit wide for it. I don't want to shake them out. I'll let them come out on their own. So I'm going to put the lid on because I don't want ants in my house. Oh, how cool. I also have a thermometer, but there's no battery in it, which is kind of frustrating. It takes 2 of these, so there's no battery in it. I actually think it like keeps an eye on the humidity levels and stuff. Okay, wait and see how cool this is. It has lights. And there's like little steps as well. So some of the ants, one ant has left the tube and went back in. I'm thinking that's his way of saying, or her, hey, we have a new house, come on out. I do think as well you can attach other ant houses. So as his colony grows, there's like little holes at the side where you can add tubes for another ant house, but let's see how he gets on with this one. So I'm going to let them settle. There's also this, ants cannot see through red. So this makes it nighttime down here. So when this isn't lit up, they say to stick this on. So I need to get back into cleaning my greenhouse. So the ants are almost set up and I just need to let them settle into their new home before I bring the ants to, oh God, to Jack's house. I can totally see why people have ant farms. It's very fascinating to watch. They're gone down into the chamber now. Anyway, I would love to know, what was your first pet? I feel like pets are kind of not controversial nowadays, but I remember as a kid having like hamsters. I think my first pet was a hamster. It was like cinnamon coloured in a cage. I don't think I'd guess someone a hamster nowadays because when I look back at the cage it was in, it was so small. I had gerbils. I didn't have rabbits. I didn't have any pet rabbits. Obviously dogs and cats in the house, but they were like the family pets. I think I was about I think I was probably my nephew's age when I got my first pet to take care of like myself. I mean, obviously, oh, hang on now. One swipe of your paw and them ants will be all over the kitchen. I actually, I was in the garden centre not that long ago, and there was a lady asking the chap that worked there for ant killer. And in my head I was like, I've just bought ants. I know there's ants in my, where I have my bees. I left some syrup, like it was just on the bottle. And when I came back, there was ants feeding off it, off the bottle of thing. But I know that ants are colonies and they have a queen, like the bees. So I don't know how to spot the queen, but I love how these are fascinating to watch. So they're bringing the foods that they had in the tube, they're bringing it down into the bottom chamber. Anyway, I need to have lunch and now do the inside. That's enough for ant chats. Yeah, what was your first pet? I've always had pets. My problem in life is I think everything is a pet when it shouldn't be. Like bees. Bees are not pets. You are the keeper, you are the custodian and the helper. They are not pets, but they are also fascinating to watch. Anyway, enough waffling. Let's get back to it. And now let's tackle the inside. And I wanted to, I suppose, have a chat, share the reality of the cleaning that happens on the inside. But myself and Mary Staunton, we were on the Today Show with Claire Byrne, I think 2 weeks ago now. And we were talking about greenhouses. And if you head to Mary Staunton's Instagram page, you'll see her beautiful greenhouse. She has the one that it's brick on the bottom and then it has like a white frame on top. And herself and her husband built them greenhouses themselves. But we were chatting about, you know, the difference between sun houses and sunrooms and garden rooms versus greenhouses. So there might be some people who want to have that space in the garden, but they don't know they're kind of confused between the two. So a greenhouse is optimized to let in as much light as it can, perfect growing conditions. It's also optimized to be warm so you can grow for longer, so you can start your seeds in spring and even grow stuff into autumn. So it's optimized for growing. However, you can have it, I suppose, like myself, like a dual space. So in springtime, the greenhouse is all down to business. It is seed sowing. And then in summertime, like now, I can use it. Sometimes I'll work in it. You'll see that I set up my art easel and it's great in the Irish weather evenings. If you have friends over and it starts raining or it's a bit chilly, you can chill in the greenhouse. And then come winter time, the greenhouse is really handy because you can overwinter any tender plants, which is what I do. So a sunroom is pretty much optimized for your leisure. So greenhouses, you're gonna have a lot of cobwebs and spiders. I have a window actually in the greenhouse that opens automatically. I think it works on like there's like an arm, and with the heat, I think there's wax on it and it expands and the window opens. And then when it gets cooler in the evening, it contracts and the window closes. So you're naturally going to get cobwebs and bugs in your greenhouse. You might even get snails and slugs too. And when it comes to like a sunroom or a summer house in your garden, they're optimized for your leisure, your pleasure. So they may not get as hot because the whole thing isn't going to be made of glass. It will have windows. It's going to probably be a bit more airtight and watertight. Whereas greenhouses, they're never 100% air and watertight because naturally you have like airflow in them. So I think if you're into your growing, then a greenhouse is going to be suitable for you. You will have, I suppose, a bit more maintenance because you do have to clean it a bit more, especially the inside with the cobwebs this time of year. And then your sun house, you will be able to, I suppose, enjoy it all year round. Maybe not so much in winter, but you could install maybe a little stove or something. But if you are into growing seeds and stuff, you may not have as much light in your summer house to grow. So like everything, it's going to come down to what your needs are, and it's not going to be the same for everyone, and it's your space. So pick something that suits you and not everyone else. So I have noticed that, you know, having the greenhouse in the garden has become a bit of a trendy item. I don't really like getting something for the sake, you know, of a trend, especially when they are pricey. So while you might see the greenhouse looking pretty on an Instagram reel, here is the reality of that maintenance and keeping it looking fresh. But it is satisfying once it's clean. Granted, it is quite messy this time of year because I'm transitioning from it being my seed house to it now being a pretty house for a few weeks before around about November time it starts to get full again with pots of dahlias and anything that isn't frost hardy. Okay, so this is looking much better, but I forgot how hot it gets in here. So I think I might scrub the floor while it's warm, rinse it, and it should be dry then, having scrubbed the floor this year. So what better time to do it? Before I go, I want to show you my new gadget, and it actually worked because I was like, oh no, is this going to be a gimmick? I'm after getting a pot lifter. Let me show you. This per hydrangea needs to be out the front in a little bit more sun, and I don't think it's getting enough kind of rainwater where it is. You can see the leaves, they're not looking happy. It needs a good feed. Anyway, I struggle lifting pots, and I always have to ring people. Hey, can you come help me lift my pots? Little Toffee over there can vouch for me. So I found this gimmick, and I actually think I saw someone use it on Gardener's World. Does Monty Don have one? Right, let me show you. It is a pot lifter, and it works. So there's these little suctiony things. There's a bottom piece, hang on. There's a bottom piece that goes under the pot. And then you have this thing, which slides up and down, and that goes in there. And I'll give you a little demo of me pulling it. Hang on, I want to make sure I'm in focus. I'm double jobbing. So you just pull it back and you move it. Hang on, I'll get a better visual. I think that pot lifter was about 50 quid, so it was a bit spendy for a garden tool. However, I can justify that because I am always lifting pots, and it's one of my least favourite things to do because I'm always like, oh, bend with the knees. So if you are a solo gardener and you hate having to ask for lifting the pots, I think it's an investment. I'll share a link where I got it. I think it was Amazon. Also, after finding 3 beautiful dahlia tubers in the packet, it's now obviously July. Sometimes when you find a tuber that you forget to plant, there might be shoots. There's nothing, and these are beautiful, lovely pink, lovely apricot colour on that one, and I love the petal on this one because pollinators love when you have, sorry the airplane, stop that, flight path, move. Pollinators love when there is like a centre. They're not as big a fan of these ones because they kind of have to get in the middle. So yeah, I might pot them up. Do you think I'll get foliage? You never know. I'm hoping for a nice sunny October. I think I'll pot them up anyway. I have soil in the thing. I'll just put them in something, and if they flower amazing. What else have I got to do? Oh yes, so the greenhouse inside, tidy, looking fresh, looking much better than it was at the start of the video. I still have to do the pots on the outside, but now that I have my handy pot lifter, another thing I need to do is rejuvenate the soil and some of the older pots. And for the likes of this poor hydrangea beside me, needs to be fed. Not gonna lie, I have not been on top of the feeding. I have not been on top of anything this season, so I don't mind admitting that. By the time I do get on top of things, it'll be winter. But I'm hoping, as I'm cleaning and tidying, I'm being a bit more organised, so I'm hoping it doesn't get as bad as it was in certain areas. Anyway, like we always say, gardens are never done. If you'd like more gardening inspiration, because that's all I can offer. Can't give you education, but I can maybe give you inspiration. I'll pop a card to Cottage Garden playlist, or you can check out my other videos that I do. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe. Regular viewers, cheeky thumbs up. See you in the next one.